Life has many vices: alcohol, gambling, League of Legends. It grips our very core, gnaws at us to just go one more round, that it could possibly one day benefit us in the long run. But let me tell you, there is one vice I have where there is literally no benefit. A vice where your heart rate is consistently elevated to zone 5 of the cardiac zone, and can instantly shatter your mood like a glass on concrete. Rhythm games. I'm sure you're very familiar with rhythm games. If you ever went to any arcade, I'm sure you looked at the kid going absolutely hog wild on the DDR machine, or Pump It Up machine, or the kids with gloves doing God knows what on the washing machine game, otherwise known as Maimai. But my rhythm game journey did not start in the glowing lights of an arcade that has not seen a single ray of sunlight in 10 years, no. It all started in a little Australian game called Osu. Osu is a game near and dear to my heart. It has single-handedly developed my taste in music, and I've played it since 2014 up until like 2022, because it was the only thing I could have ran on my poor HP laptop. These were the days of Nightcore. I was there when Rockefeller Street made it big, and when Kokizi full cleared image material. Osu was an addiction, and hooey! You could smell the sweat and stench that came from me because I grinded the shit out of it. I even bought the Hoyan H420 to solely play this game, and even then, I never even made it that far. The best I've done was a couple of 6-star maps. Remember guys, your best is never enough. Osu had an entire ladder based on PP points, Jesus Christ saying that, aka performance points, that determined your rank, and by god if that number didn't move up I would crash out like looking at your stock portfolio. But as I got older and my left hand started giving in to the amount of pressure I was putting on it, I threw in the towel and said enough is enough. There is no point grinding anymore because the goalpost would just constantly move. Once I hit my first 6-star map, now I needed to reach 5 digits, and so on and so forth. It was never enough, and it just wasn't that fulfilling anymore to me after the amount of stress I put on myself for years on end. Just imagine the pressure to keep up a full combo on a 6-minute map. One flub and your entire run is over. I couldn't handle the pressure anymore, nor could my heart. After Osu, some things kept popping up about a game called Taiko, and luckily for me, I was on a trip with an arcade nearby, so I naturally had to go. It was fun, but Jesus Christ, it is very difficult and tiring. All of those machines are really old ones and don't get regular updates because new versions are usually only released in Japan, so I get stuck playing the same few songs for my entire trip. Later down the line, I also got into Pump It Up, pretty much a Korean version of DDR, and it was also fun. However, I never really liked restricting my body when it came to dancing. I was called the dancing queen in high school, so I needed to freestyle that bitch. Then, a couple years later, I got recommended this video about a fairly new rhythm game called Dancerush Stardom, and it was all downhill from there. I became what I sought to destroy. Round 1 became my home. I camped all the machines because it was just so much fun. Every trip I go, I am hell-bent on finding an arcade for this machine alone. I'm not even that good at it, I'm going to be honest. Granted, I went so hard that I tapped out for a while before going back on. I spammed only 2 songs, Crazy Shuffle and Love to Shuffle. They aren't the hardest songs in Dancerush, but goddamn they are the most flashy. Dancerush locked the door behind me and said, "You're here for life, buddy." Not that I was sober to begin with. I couldn't stop myself from playing rhythm games like a bear snorting cocaine. All I think about when I'm on trips is, man, I wonder if there's a round 1 nearby, or some form of arcade, because that is the only time I get to play those rhythm games because I live in the middle of bumfuck nowhere. I played Waka, rest in peace, Nostalgia, Chrono Circle, this fucking cube thing, Momo Suzunene, literally everything except for DDR because it was too hard for me to get into. But the one game I could never get right was Sound Voltex. I don't think I had the mental capacity to twist knobs at the right speed while also pressing other buttons. My affinity for music has been fine-tuned by Japanese arcade games. I was doomed to be an anime boy from the very beginning. With that being said, rhythm games, for however much they damaged my psyche, hold a special place in my heart. It's what got me into Vocaloid, J-pop artists, anime culture, and eventually right here. I think the reason why I loved rhythm games so much is that you can see your progress and you can see yourself improve as you do harder and harder songs. As long as you challenge yourself, you will improve. But it is hella expensive. It is a bottomless money pit, as in order to play these games, albeit cheap, you need to pay for every round, and you also need to buy one of these cards to save your progress. Well played, Japan. If I had the money, I would buy my own personal Dancerush Stardom cab and forever be chained to it like a really weird kink. Should I have stayed away from Osu? Probably. I blame that game for igniting my already terrible competitive nature. But isn't life a little more enjoyable when you have competitors? Have a good night.